Hi, I'm Chad Barker, your Sudoku professor, and today I'm helping Peter Frinton with two puzzles that he sent in. This is one of them from Sudoku Dragon, is a website, I'm pretty sure. And if you'd like, and I actually encourage you to go down below and download those puzzles and work them, and I will show you how to solve those puzzles here. Now, if you are a longtime member of the club, you probably will recognize how to solve one of them, this one, right away. But, either way, come back because I've got some interesting information for you, and then we'll get into the other one. So when I first took a look at this puzzle, what I was immediately taken aback by was that it didn't look symmetrical. And then I realized that the symmetry was just a little different than normal. It's just symmetrical along this line here. So it's left-right symmetry. So I was somewhat relieved. Anyway, it's still kind of an odd situation, especially since you have row 9 here is already completely filled in. So it looks funny, but nonetheless, it's still a fine puzzle. And Peter, we're going to go over the solution. So let's see here. This is where Peter got to. This is his stuck point, which is perfectly understandable. You're doing great. You got here. You mentioned something about doing trial and error. I hope that you didn't use trial and error to get to this point. And when you were referring to trial and error, I hope that you were referring to solving it from this point, actually. So, yeah, this puzzle does not require any special techniques. These are all undergraduate techniques to get to this point right here. For those of you who have been a member, like I said, you may recognize that this is a doubles dead-end solution. And I'll write that up here. Doubles dead end solution. So I covered this technique in a webinar some time ago. You could actually search for it and find it. But I never put it into the senior lessons, and that was my intention all along. So this is actually you're going to find this now in Senior 410. If you go look for that, you'll see that there's a new 410 lesson that you can watch the videos on the doubles dead-end solution. Now, this is commonly known as a bi-value universal graveyard, or it could be grave or graveyard, also abbreviated BUG, or actually it's almost a bi-value universal graveyard. And when I did those videos, that webinar, I don't think I really understood everything about this. So let's look at what we've got here. So that you understand what's going on. Everywhere on this puzzle, we have double-doubles. So if we look at every box, we have double-doubles except for box 9 down here. We have a triple combo. Every row, we have triple doubles or double doubles in every row and every column, except, again, when we get to anything that intersects with this space right here. So in this space right here, we have a triple combo along column 9 and then a quad combo along row 7. And again, the triple combo in the box. And it all revolves around this space right here because 6 can go in all 3 spaces in this box right here. It can go in all 3 spaces in this column, and it can go in 3 of the 4 spaces along this row. Other than that, we would have doubles everywhere. So if we were to somehow magically eliminate 6 from this space, that would mean 6 could only go here and here in the box, and it would also only be in 2 places in row 7 and column 9. We would actually end up with a problem, and that's what's called, that's the bi-value universal grave or graveyard or bug. It's a dead end situation. That's why I call it dead end here, because there's no logical solution. You cannot find a logical solution when everything are double doubles, triple doubles, and so on. So the solution is based on the thought that if this wasn't a 6, you'd have a problem, then it must be a 6. So this space has to be a 6. And you can say, well, that kind of is a little bit, that's kind of a hinky thing there to sit there and just say, well, you want me to believe that in all cases that I find this, that this has to be that number? And the answer is yes. In all cases where you find it, the number that goes in all three spaces goes in the space that all three numbers are a possibility. And it is actually true. Now you say, I'm still not believing you, and I can understand you're saying that. And the fact of the matter is that, okay, we could take, in every one of these situations that we find this, if we take the other two possibilities, either 5 or 7 that we have here in this space, and if we place the 5 here, for example, and we run out the logic, which we would be able to do fairly easily, we would wind up with a problem. Some row or some column or some box is going to have 2 of the same number in it. Likewise, if we put a 7 there, we'd have the same problem. We'd be able to run out the logic pretty quickly, but in the end, some row, column, or box is going to have 2 of the same number. And what number that is and which row or column it is kind of depends on your order of solution. So again, if 5 and 7 are a problem, then the answer to this, the solution here, must be that this space, let me get the right color here, has to be 6. So again, if everything were doubles, you'd have this dead end that I call it, or this graveyard that other people call it. So the fact that you have one space that is, kind of your saving grace, if you will, this space right here is something that you can work with, means that this puzzle is not a bug. Okay, so let me erase the 6 here. This puzzle is what's called a bug +1. And the +1 refers to this space right here. There is one space that's your salvation. Now, the reason I bring that up is because the next puzzle is actually a bug +3. And you might say, well, what the heck is a bug +3? Well, let's get there, and I'll show you what that is. So here's Peter's stuck point. He got this far, and he couldn't get any farther. And again, I don't blame him. You got as far as you could without knowing other things. Now, I will say, before we get into this a little further, that this is actually solvable by a graduate level technique that I already have available. It is a linked double doubles. So there is a linked double doubles on this puzzle that will solve it completely. And it's actually an easier solution than what I'm about to show you. So I don't have any lessons on what are also known as as bug +2 or bug +3, okay, which is what this puzzle is right here. I don't have any lessons on this because I don't actually have a lot of puzzles that fall into this category. Now, I would like to do some lessons on the bug +2 and the bug +3, but I need puzzles for that situation. And I looked through, thousands of puzzles, and I couldn't find anything that fell into one of these categories. I mean, I scanned through to see if there was anything that I had just noted or left undone that fell into a bug +2 or bug +3, and I couldn't find anything in all of the puzzles that I had done. Now, that doesn't mean that there weren't something there that I might have solved with another technique. For example, like this one can be solved with another technique easier. Many of these, the bug +1, I know can be solved with a 3 corners technique. So you got the 3 corners that probably could have solved many of these puzzles, and so therefore, if I found a 3 corners, I'm not looking for a bug +2 or a bug +3. So if I were to do this, though, I probably would end up calling this, since I have a doubles dead end solution, is really the bug +1. I'll probably have a doubles dead end solution +1 and +2, and those are related. Like the +2 is the doubles dead end solution, and this 3. I know it's a little confusing, but if I'm just throwing out what I'm thinking I might do. And I will tell you that if I do the bug +2 and bug +3 techniques, it's probably going to be graduate level lessons, because the thinking that goes behind it is very much graduate level. It's the same sort of thinking that we do in a lot of other techniques that we're using. So the idea here is that there are, since I said this is a bug plus 3, so you have double doubles, triple doubles, quad doubles in a lot of places, but there are a few places that you don't have that in this puzzle. So for example, this space right here, this space could be 3 numbers. It could be a 2, 7, or 9. So 7 is still a possibility. 7 can go in 3 places in this box, and 3 places in the column, 3 places along the row, and this space right here can hold 3 possibilities. So I'm going to make a note here that this space right here being a 7 is kind of fallen into that category. Another place is this triple combo right down here in this box. Okay, so 5 and 7 can go in 2 places, but 9 can go in all 3. And this space right here is the culprit. If we were able to eliminate 9 from this space, we would have a triple double and a triple double in the box and a triple double in the column. So I'm just going to put a 9 here just to kind of illustrate that that's one of the issues that we're having. And the third place is this box 8 right here. We have a 2, 7, 9 triple combo. And again, 7 is kind of the culprit because it shows up in 3 places. It can go in all 3 places in the box, and it's 3 places along the row and 3 places along the column. So if we eliminate it, so the idea here is that if we eliminated 7 from this space here, and 9 from this space here, and 7 from this space here, if we eliminated those numbers from all of those spaces, what we would end up with is a doubles dead end, or a bi-value universal graveyard, whatever you want to call it. We would end up with a situation where there would be doubles everywhere. If again, all those numbers that I wrote in green, if we could eliminate those possibilities everywhere, we would have that. So think, well, okay, that's a fine thought, but how do you do that? And that's the idea here. So what you do is you actually find a space that would make all of those numbers, that would eliminate the green numbers from those spaces. And this is where we get into a lot of the graduate level thinking. And I won't go into how I discovered this, but I just I'm looking around, and it turns out that if you make this space right here a 7, all right, that eliminates 7 from this space, right? So 7's eliminated from there. It also eliminates 7 from this space, right? So then 7 has to go here. And if that's the case, then 7 is eliminated from here. Okay, so we've made one move, and we've now eliminated 2 of the 3. And if 7 is here, then this has to be a 5, right? Because this can only be 7 or 5, which then this makes this a 9. And if this is a 9, then it eliminates 9 from here. So in other words, we have, by one move, right here, we have eliminated 9 from this space, 7 from this space, and 7 from this space. So again, if we get rid of all of the numbers in green, we have a problem. And I have actually made a move here, placing a 7 here, that actually created that problem. And therefore, this can't be a 7. That's the logic. And you say, well, but if this was a 7, you could go ahead and do the rest of the logic on the puzzle. And that's true. You could. Here's the deal. If you do make this a 7 and you run out the logic, you will get that same problem that I talked about. You're going to have 2 of the same number in some row or column or box. Therefore, this can't be a 7. It has to be, in this case, it's the only other thing that can go there is a 2. So this has to be a 2, and with that, you would have a solution to the puzzle. The same thing, you could run out the logic from the 2, and you'd be able to solve it without any trouble. So now, another way to look at this is that, remember the numbers that I wrote in green, the 7 here, the 7 here, and the 9 here. One of those has to be true. Maybe all of them are true. I mean, maybe this is a 9, and this is a 7, and this is a 7 in the end. It doesn't really matter. The point is at least one of them has to be those numbers, because if it's not, we got a problem. So what we do is we find this situation where all of them are eliminated, and then we can then go the other way, do the other thing. So, Peter, that is the way this works. If you didn't understand that, even for those who understand the doubles dead end solution very well, if you didn't understand that, I understand. This was just a brief overview of this. But Peter, if you're doing puzzles at this level frequently, you probably should, if you're really ready for this, you should probably get the graduate level lessons. But you did mention something about doing trial and error. And if you're doing trial and error prior to this point, you need to go back and review the undergraduate lessons some more. Again, I'm not sure whether you were doing trial and error before or after. Now, I want to say something. You made this comment, and I think I'm gonna adopt this. Really, this is really funny. So at the bottom, at the end of this puzzle, you said, "Am I missing something, or is the puzzle algorithm deficient?" And I just laughed because I think that is so funny. I think I'm going to start calling every puzzle that I can't solve as algorithm deficient, because that is just hilarious to me. Because then we can just blame the puzzle, right? And then we're good. Because if we blame the puzzle, if the problem is the puzzle, then it's not us, right? So we're good. But anyway, okay. So Peter, like I said, I hope you get something out of this. And again, for those of you, if anybody else finds the bug plus 2, again, where we have 2 instead of we have 3 spaces like this, if you have 2 spaces, send that puzzle in. Let me know that it's what you're finding, and it is a bug plus, or that you think that it's a bug plus 2 or bug plus 3 or whatever. Maybe we can group those puzzles together and actually create some lessons out of this technique. So again, thanks, Peter, and keep the questions coming. Hey, if you like that lesson and you want more like it, you may want to check out the Sudoku Professor's Insiders Club, where you get access to lots of great resources, solving tips and strategies, our exclusive puzzle library, a fantastic community of like-minded Sudoku enthusiasts, and much, much more. There's a link in the description below. So, happy solving. I'm Chad Barker, your Sudoku Professor.